Etsy algorithm is complicated, but it doesn't have to be scary. If it's time to make some changes to your tags, it can be tempting to change all your listings at once. But won't the algorithm get mad? Well, in today's episode of With a Twist, we're answering your questions about updating your Etsy shop in bulk and showing you how to make changes with confidence. Hi everybody, I am Lisa from Marmalade.
And I'm Jade from Marmalade.
And this is Goose from Marmalade. And welcome to another episode of With a Twist. This is the show where we basically kick back,
Relax, grab a drink.
Yep. And answer your questions about e-commerce, Marmalade, Etsy, all that stuff. So, without further ado, welcome to the episode. I think my colleague here is falling asleep, so I'm going to put him down. And we're going to introduce the drink that we're going to be sharing this evening.
Yes. We are having some very delicious Flying Eagle kombucha.
Kombucha from Fort Myers, Florida. We actually found this kombucha at a little farmer's market on Sanibel Island.
Yep. And the kombucha's delicious, and if you're in Fort Myers, you can stop by their tap room. And
it's in a little building called Millennial Brewing, and they are collaborating with like a bar, and then there's this mocktail lounge, and then there's the kombucha shop, Flying Eagle Kombucha. Super cool vibes, super great kombucha.
And they are not a sponsor.
And they're not a sponsor, and we don't sponsor them.
We just like them.
We're going to be enjoying some Flying Eagle kombucha.
We're also traveling currently, so we have an RV that we redid. We travel all over, and we're currently in the RV, hence the interesting background here.
Yeah, the different background. Cheers.
Delicious.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this question. Let me see if I can pull it up. Does updating your shop in bulk hurt your algorithm? What is the best way to update your shop to appease Etsy's algorithm? So this is actually a question that we get a lot. So it's going to be fun to be able to answer this question. First of all, thank you so much for sending it in. So let's kind of start with, does updating your shop in bulk hurt your shop?
Does it hurt it? That's not really a black and white answer, but if you update everything at once, you definitely will have no idea what is working and what's not.
Yeah, it makes it a lot harder to see which changes were beneficial for you and which weren't, right?
I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know I'm doing it really, really well.
You know, in any kind of experiment, if you change everything all at once, then you're kind of lost trying to figure out, okay, well, which part of this was effective or which part of it wasn't effective, if you do have any effect at all. So definitely, we always recommend that you do not change everything all at once. We always recommend that you start with a handful of listings, and we always recommend that those listings are what? Your
top performing listings? All of the top performing listings? No, don't do that.
We always recommend that they are a handful of your lowest performing listings.
Why?
Because it's the best place to start, right? You know, something's not working for you. So that's where you want to start.
And if it is working for you, even if it has a C grade, guys,
or a D grade,
leave it alone. Do not mess with it. The grades are not the end all be all. I was just watching somebody talk about this. They're not the end all be all.
No, they're important.
They're important. But if you have something with a C or a D grade and it's selling, do not change it just to get an A grade.
Right. So let me dive into that a little bit deeper. You don't want to change it because something is currently working for it, right? Now, could it be doing a little better? Like, could it be ticking off more boxes that Etsy says is important for a solid organic Etsy SEO strategy? Yes, right? But something's working for it. I say this in the training video all the time. Like, you could be pushing traffic to that listing from an outside website. You could be pushing traffic to it from social media like Pinterest or Instagram. Etsy could have run some sort of campaign that points towards a product like yours, or maybe even your product specifically. Whatever the case may be, something is working for that listing. And so that's not where you want to go back to the drawing board at this point in time, right? Let that listing keep performing. Even if it could be performing better, let it keep performing. And then you work on the handful of lowest performing listings. And then once you hit on a strategy that works, that's when you can start to move that strategy wider out across your shop, right? So yeah, don't change what's already working for you.
I think it's super hard if you're
super grades motivated.
Yeah, and if you're like kind of OCD about your grades, you're like, I just want A's across the board. You kind of have to change your thinking on what that is.
Yeah.
It's not about just getting an A grade.
I want to take a moment to say thank you for tuning in to With a Twist by Marmalade. Marmalade uses machine learning to guide you to real keywords that Etsy shoppers are using every day in search. Spend more time creating the products you love and let Marmalade help take the confusion out of Etsy SEO. Learn more in the description or at Marmalade, which is MARMALEAD.com.
We hear from our awesome Marmalade community members a lot that they end up seeing their greatest gains from their lowest performers because they're not like jumping straight into fixing this one over here because you're like so stoked that it's doing well, but you're like, oh, it could be doing so much better. Yes, but that's not where you want to start, right? You want to start down here. And then they see a lot of times when they do that those lowest performers, they go on to surpass what was once their best seller. And so that's the strategy that we really push, is that you, again, start with a handful of your lowest performers.
Yes.
Work on those slowly, right? You don't want to just change everything all at once. You don't want to change every single one of your lowest performers all at once. Choose a handful, really work on those first, really get comfortable with the process. And then once you finally are comfortable with the process, that's when you can start to move that strategy out across your shop wider and wider.
How long do you think once they've worked on their lowest performing listings, and let's say they took 5, how long then do they wait to then go back and work on another 5?
Right. Okay. So that number is going to look a little bit different for everybody, right? Because, maybe you have the ability to sort of fly through some listings a little bit quicker. But again, just keep in mind, you're doing this, relatively slowly for where you are. But how long does it take for things to really sort of shake out? Again, there's not like a super hard and fast answer here. Mm-hmm. But what I will say is that on average, it takes between 2 and 4 weeks to really sort of settle into an average, or average isn't the right word, to sort of settle back in to a regular rhythm again with a particular listing. Because keep in mind, if you change all the words, all the keywords on a listing, right, you're changing every audience that you are in front of. So you can think of keywords as different audiences or markets that you're in front of. And if you like pull off 10 keywords and put on 10 new keywords or whatever the case may be, then you've changed 10 audiences that you're in front of, and it's going to take a minute. Now, Etsy's algorithm is automatically going to be able to see the changes that you've made, and you'll automatically start showing up in those searches, but it can take some time for you to sort of fall into a regular rhythm in those searches again. So again, on average, I would say anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks to really see, where you're going to shake out in a regular rhythm. Now, if you've seen nothing, and I mean like nothing in 2 weeks, I would say that it would be fine for you to go back to the drawing board and sort of choose some different keywords to focus on. But if you've seen some positive movement in 2 weeks, it could take, like I said, between 2 and 4 weeks. That's the average of what we see folks saying. I would love to be able to sit here and tell you that the sweet success of SEO victory is an overnight sensation. Like you're just going to sign up with Marmalade and on, last night and then this morning, bam.
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
Magic.
And for very few people, it works that way. And we're so happy for you. But for most people, it takes some time. It takes some trial and error. It takes some testing out of those rhythms and just sort of figuring out, okay, this is going to work for me and this isn't. So 2 to 4 weeks. Never change something that's already working for you, right? That's not where you want to start.
never change everything.
And don't change everything all at once. So that's kind of coming full circle on that question. We just recommend that you move slowly.
Yes. Patience is a virtue in this instance.
Yes,
for sure.
it is. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's pretty much it for that question. And we sincerely hope that you give Fly Legal a chance.
They're going to start shipping in January. They're not a sponsor. We just love them.
We just love all sorts of libations.
Yes.
And stuff. So cheers again.
Happy selling, everybody.
Happy selling, everybody. And thanks for checking out.
Send in your questions.
Yeah, send in your questions.
On With a Twist.
Yeah, thanks for checking out another episode of With a Twist.